Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, I figured it out, what the problem is. I'm such a genius. Figured it out. The problem is, I'm a spiritual being and I have a material body. And so I'm forced to maintain this material body because I'm identified with it. And I've been allotted a certain number of years where I have to be encapsulated in this thing. And it's you have to minimize maintaining this thing. Minimize that which is gonna keep my consciousness preoccupied in things that have to do with the body. And that means family, means society, it means friendship, it means all those things on the material plane. The way I came to this conclusion after over 50 years of practicing Krishna consciousness, it's ever fresh, it's ever new, was this morning I was chanting and I was just completely happy just to sit and vibrate the holy name, and I was very happy just to chant Hare Krishna. I didn't want to stop, just keep chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. I just keep vibrating, calling out for God, just keep vibrating the holy names. I was very happy to do that. But I have a doctor's appointment later this morning, and I have to do something about the porch because the water's coming in and it's rotting, and just all these things. But it all has to do, I just want to sit and chant Hare Krishna. All of these things, they just have to do with maintaining a material situation, which ultimately can't be maintained anyway because the debilities of old age and disease, and then ultimately, of course, to leave, the death of the body. So that's the problem, is identifying with this material body and being forced to serve it, to maintain it, and to all these things. So the great souls, the enlightened souls, the transcendental persons, they all know this already. They already know all this. And there are different practices and different paths and different religions to help along the way to at least acknowledge that we're spiritual and that there is a creator like that. But this bhakti yoga, this devotional service, coming in line from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for me, he's my spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He hasn't kicked me away yet. I'm still hanging on. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I find there's a really clear path to the topmost. Awakening. Realization. And there's a revival going on the planet. The whole planet is in revival. because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But that's the problem, is because I am imprisoned or incarcerated or encapsulated in the material form made of earth, water, fiery elements, air takes part in it, and ether, which is the element sound travels in, and then the subtle elements, the mind, the intelligence, and the false sense of self, put it all in a big package, and that's me. That's false ego. Hare Krishna, Krishna. That's the problem, is identifying with that. Hare Krishna. So by chanting and hearing about Krishna, in line of disciplic succession, Hare Krishna, as given by the pure devotees, and we gain access to this realization that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind. And then we just want to minimize the maintaining and use the rest, maximize as much as possible Krishna, especially the chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna. There's nothing better anyone can do for themselves and for others is to simply chant Hare Krishna. There's no greater welfare work. What is it? Save yourself in such a way that others get benefited. Which means become a living vibrator of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then I gotta go to the doctors later this morning and try and do something to keep the water out of the porch, and then this other thing, and then the weeds are growing in the garden, and all this stuff. So try to keep that at a minimum. And even though doing all of those things, practice remembering Krishna, acting as a servant of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Because when I go to the doctor's office, Krishna's in the heart of all those people in there. The doctor, the nurses, the whatever. Krishna's in their heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And I have to go out in the garden and pull some weeds or do whatever. And Krishna's there. And I got to work on the porch. It's Krishna's house. I have to maintain it, just like I have to maintain the body, because it really doesn't belong to me. Hare Krishna, it's saying, it's a prison, I'm incarcerated in this thing. But actually, it's a facility. It's like if you have a car, you can go places and do things in the car. You just have to maintain it. You're not the car, but because even in one lifetime, you might have a lot of different cars as they wear out. Hare Krishna, they have to be maintained. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. It's a facility. But ultimately, because this morning when I was chanting, I was happy if I just sat there and chanted and didn't do anything, I saw that it really, ultimately on the spiritual plane, it wasn't necessary to do all these things. It's only because of the material body. So I'm in transition. What is it? By practicing this mantra yoga, bhakti yoga, devotional yoga. And the body's becoming spiritualized. What is it? I used to say all the time, put the iron is iron, but if you put it in the fire, like a blacksmith does, it becomes hot, just like fire. If you touch it to something, it'll burn, whatever it touches. So, like that, the body is like iron, a cold iron. But if it's in the fire, then it becomes Krishnaized, spiritualized. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it's not just by mental exercises or mental or even intellectual prowess. It's by chanting Hare Krishna, by vibrating Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's in the Kali Yuga out there. Everybody's in a hurry. Go somewhere. They got big loads in their truck. Wood and whatever they've got in the back of their trucks. Hare Krishna, zoom. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Birds have a lot to say. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna. I don't even hear the street sounds anymore. It's kind of like the ocean, you know. You're at the ocean and the waves. It's just waves, like waves of the ocean. Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's just during the day. At night it's quiet. It's a country road. At night it's quiet. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh boy, I can't help it though. I sure wish I didn't have to do a bunch of stuff. Wish I didn't have to go out there and get in the car and go over there. I could just chant, just keep chanting Hare Krishna, just chant. But for now, Hare Krishna. All right, so I'm going to read a little something about Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he manifested 5,000 years ago. And this is a summary study of the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, which the 10th canto specifically describes Krishna's pastimes. The other cantos help getting to that point of being able to appreciate Krishna's actual pastimes. And they give descriptions of different devotees and their struggles. And the other 9 cantos, creation of the universe, things like that. So we're up to the point here of the breaking of the bow in the sacrificial arena. Kamsa has arranged for Akrura to take Krishna out of Vrindavan and bring him to Mathura to take part in a festival. And there's going to be part of the festival is a wrestling match. And Kamsa's plan is that the wrestlers will kill Krishna and Balaram. They're very big and they're very strong. And Krishna and Balaram are just young boys. So that's the idea, Kamsa's idea. He had some other plans too, but his idea is to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura and destroy Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the breaking of the bow. Krishna and Balaram, they met the residents of Mathura who were eagerly waiting for them. And one of the persons they dealt with wasn't very happy about Krishna because he was a servant of Kamsa. And the other, the florist, was very in ecstasy to have Krishna there at his place where he lived. Krishna came to visit, and he made gorgeous garlands for him. He gave what he had. He was a florist, he had flowers. So after leaving the florist's place, Krishna and Balaram saw a hunchback young woman carrying a dish of sandalwood pulp through the streets. Since Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, he wanted to make all his companions joyous by cutting a joke with the hunchback woman. Krishna addressed her. "O tall young woman, who are you? Tell me, for whom are you carrying the sandalwood pulp in your hand? I think you should offer this sandalwood to me. And if you do so, I am sure you will be fortunate." Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he knew everything about the hunchback. By his inquiry, he indicated that there was no use in serving a demon. One had better serve Krishna and Balaram and get rid of the result of sins. The woman replied to Krishna, "My dear Shamashundar, dear, beautiful, dark boy, you may know that I am engaged as a maidservant of Kamsa. I am supplying him pulp of sandalwood daily. The king is very pleased with me for supplying this nice thing. But now I see that there is no one who can better be served by this pulp of sandalwood than you two brothers." Being captivated by the beautiful features of Krishna and Balaram, their talking, their smiling, their glancing, and other activities, the hunchback woman began to smear the pulp of sandalwood over their bodies with great satisfaction and devotion. Two transcendental beggars, Krishna and Balaram, were naturally beautiful and had beautiful complexions, and they were nicely dressed in colorful garments. The upper portions of their bodies were already very attractive, and when the hunchback woman smeared their bodies with sandalwood pulp, they looked even more beautiful. Krishna was very pleased by this service, and he began to consider how to reward her. In other words, in order to draw the attention of the Lord, the Krishna-conscious devotee has to serve him in great love and devotion. Krishna cannot be pleased by any other action than transcendental loving service unto him. Thinking like this, Lord Krishna pressed the feet of the hunchback woman with his toes, and capturing her cheeks with his fingers, gave her a jerk in order to make her straight. At once, the hunchback woman looked like a beautiful straight girl with broad hips, thin waist, very nice, well-shaped breasts. Since Krishna was pleased with the service of the hunchback woman, and since she was touched by Krishna's hands, she became the most beautiful girl among women. This incident shows that by serving Krishna, the devotee immediately becomes elevated to the most exalted position. In all respects, devotional service is so potent that anyone who takes to it becomes qualified with all godly qualities. Krishna was attracted to the hunchback woman not for her beauty, but for her service. As soon as she rendered service, she immediately became the most beautiful woman. A Krishna-conscious person does not have to be qualified or beautiful. After becoming Krishna-conscious and rendering service unto Krishna, he becomes very qualified and beautiful. When the woman was turned by Krishna's favor, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Recycling truck is here to take the cardboard and paper, plastic and cans. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Let go. When the woman was turned by Krishna's favor into an exquisitely beautiful young girl, she naturally felt very much obliged to Krishna, and she was also attracted by his beauty. Without hesitation, she caught the rear part of his cloth and began to snatch at it. She smiled flirtatiously and admitted she was agitated by lusty desires. She forgot that she was on the street and before the elder brother of Krishna and his friends. She frankly proposed to Krishna. "My dear hero, I cannot leave you in this way. You must come to my place. I am already very much attracted to your beauty, so I must receive you well, for you are the best among males. You must also be very kind upon me." In plain words, she proposed that Krishna come to her home and satisfy her lusty desires. Krishna, of course, felt a little embarrassed in front of his elder brother Balaram, but he knew that the girl was simple and attracted. Therefore, he simply smiled at her words. Looking towards his cowherd boyfriends, he replied to the girl, "My dear beautiful girl, I'm very much pleased by your invitation, and I must come to your home after finishing my other business here. Such a beautiful girl like you is the only means of solace for a person like me, for I am away from home and not married. Certainly, as a suitable girlfriend, you can give us relief from all kinds of mental agitation." Krishna satisfied the girl in this way with sweet words. Leaving her there, he began to proceed down the street of the marketplace, where the citizens were prepared to receive him with various kinds of presentation, especially betel nuts, flowers, and sandalwood. Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Nitai Gaur, 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 Nitai Gaur. That needs to get cleaned out a little, doesn't it? Oh well. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. What is it? It's a song the Christian sings. All my trials, Lord, soon be over. Free from this material body. What is it? The devotee from this life, when this life is through, they go to where Krishna is actually appearing. Like, he appeared here 5,000 years ago, so we missed it by 5,000 years. But also 500 years. He appeared again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we weren't here exactly when he was appearing. So what happens is the devotee, they're chanting, they're trying to serve, they're making progress. They become purified, and they take their birth in this material universe where Krishna, at the time that Krishna is appearing, whatever universe that is, and they make a connection there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So the body isn't exactly material anymore, and they take part in Krishna's pastimes, his activities, where he's actually appearing. Hare Krishna, Hare, that part of the universe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna's appearances are described like how the sun travels through the sky. So it's a little after 9 o'clock in the morning here, but it's noontime somewhere else. It's the sun. It's just the angle of vision. And then someplace it's midnight. It's dark. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's midnight. It's 11 o'clock at night. In different places, according to how you have access. It's the sun. There's one sun, but viewed differently from different positions. So Krishna's pastimes are described like that. Like the sun is traveling through the sky. That's Vedic astrology. Astronomy, Vedic astronomy. Hare Krishna, the sun is moving. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. It's that verse in the Upanishad, though fixed in his abode. What is that verse? No, I can't find it right now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.